I'm pleased to be joined by Ohio State quarterback and Heisman Trophy winner Troy Smith. Troy, how you doing, man?
I'm doing very good. Appreciate you having me, RJ.
Nah, man, I'm so excited to talk with you, specifically going into this week, the week for the game. And we're coming up on
Yeah,
16 years ago, right? You
that's crazy.
rolled into the shoe against an undefeated Michigan and went off, right? I think it was 29 to 41, 316, three tutties and a pick. What do you remember about that game?
I remember all of those stats. I remember the ups, the downs. I remember that day vividly. It is a part of OSU history, and I am incredibly grateful to be there.
I went and rewatched the game in preparing for this interview with you, and I was floored by just how close it was there at the end. So going into the fourth quarter, Mike Hart scores, right? Now running backs coach at Michigan. And
Great player.
I think
Great
tell
player.
me if I got this wrong. You were coming into the game 17-yard line and had to lead Ohio State down the field after what was looking like a rocky end to the game because y'all were up 28-14 at one point. What was it like going into that final series to try to put together that drive?
It was tough. Great teams bring out the greatness in you, the character inside of you. And if you look back at that team across the board, they were stacked. Um, uh, First round draft picks all across the board, great coaches, great camaraderie. There was the passing of Bo Schembechler that added a little bit more lore to everything that they were bringing that day. So it was tough, but we persevered. We hung tight. Football in adverse situations really bring out your character, the trueness of who you are, and we stuck it out. So it was pretty cool.
It's interesting you make mention of Coach Schembechler passing on the eve of that game, 77 years old, a veteran of the 10-year war, as many folks inside the rivalry get. But I want to set the table here in that it was number one versus number two in what we've called the game of the century. Y'all had knocked off the number two team in the country in Texas. Michigan had knocked off the number two team in the country in Notre Dame. And y'all kept it together for this game. So I got to ask, what was the lead up for you like? Like, what is the talk going into the week? What's Monday like? What's Tuesday like?
It was very, very, very rigorous. There was a lot going on, specifically because you had a lot of the major trophies and the major awards up for grabs at that time too. If our team wasn't as cohesive and held together the way that we did, we wouldn't have been able to go through the gauntlet that was 2006. We played a couple different number one versus number two games that year, like you just mentioned. Didn't get the win in the national championship, but it was a rough year. And going into the Michigan week, I mean, it's everything. The tensions run deep, the tensions run high. Special players come out in special games, and it'll create a buzz for you for the rest of your life if you're pretty successful. If it doesn't work out, the back alleys is usually where you need to travel. So trust me, I know.
Well, hey, look, it worked out for you in winning the Heisman Trophy. And I want to put a point here. If we throw out the single wing tailbacks, and I do, you're the last and I believe the only quarterback in Ohio State history to win the Heisman Trophy. How has that changed your life even 15, 16 years after the fact?
It's changed my life tremendously. There's been tumultuous times because of it, but that is life. Life is going to life, regardless of whichever ways that you want to cut it. The Heisman Trophy, the accolades, the wins on the field, they mean so much. But then again, too, as a realist, I've come across too many situations where the things that I have done, they've tried to minimize some of the things. And specifically, this is why we stepped into the mental health realm and we stepped into different ways of becoming a better man and a better person because of the ups and downs with football. At one point in time, you're riding high, you're the best thing since sliced bread. And then when things don't go the way that things are supposed to from somebody else's vision for you, you'll see how they really love you and appreciate you. But being an Ohio guy through and through, I've had so much respect for everybody around here, so much support. The reciprocity is real. Kids, if you're getting a chance to watch this, come on and be a Buckeye, because there's real love here, and we keep it real, and we try to give back as much as we can.
That is an interesting point you raise about what it means to be a Buckeye, and more specifically, be a Buckeye quarterback. I've got to know Kim Stroud, CJ Stroud's mother, since he got to Ohio State, and she was awesome. Walking through with me the difference between perhaps being a 5-star quarterback and then knowing that your kid is going to be a big-time college football quarterback, and then being the quarterback at the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Yeah,
they're coming from Rancho Cucamonga, California.
Rancho Cucamonga.
Yeah. So like, I'm asking you, like, how does that change for you when you become not just the quarterback, but I mean, you're a quarterback that was allowed to sling it and run it. I mean, I'm looking at this. Right. Go ahead, put you on Front Street. You got Brian Robisky, you got Ted Ginn Jr., you got Anthony Gonzalez, and you got Brian Hartline to throw the ball to. How much pressure is on your shoulders to just not mess this up?
Santonio Holmes, don't forget him too. I mean, that was a year before, but he set the tone. He was a beast. It's not a lot of pressure, to tell you the truth. You named all of those guys that what they can do as a wide receiver is get open. It was pretty simple, pretty easy for me. Our linemen were tough. Our linemen got after it. We weren't a part of the new day and age with the super tight jerseys, so your skin and the fat had to leave. You know what I mean? Like nowadays, the linemen look like tight ends. I wasn't a part of that. I had guys that were regular old guys. I'm not even going to talk about the physique because it is what it is. I love my guys to death. We were just a part of the first versions of, like morphing to what the quarterback does and not making him, be a picturesque version of something that you want. So Coach Jim Tressel, if it wasn't for him and his ingenuity and his ability to be new and cutting edge and then also morph with us, he gave us a chance to throw the football. And this is why all of these great wide receivers that came from Ohio State.
I'm curious about your relationship with Coach Tressel. Just a peek behind the curtain. Our producer here, Tyler Wojak, is a Notre Dame alumnus, and he is, like me, a big fan of Marcus Freeman, former Buckeye.
Huge fan of Marcus Freeman, man.
Right,
Huge
and what
fan.
He's been able to do, especially the way they've been able to bounce back in the second half of the year. But one of the things that he had talked about was just how much Coach Tressel has meant to him, not just when he played for him, but as a head coach now. Was it like for you to be able to play for a guy like Coach Tressel that, for me, looking inside, right, I'm from Oklahoma, he didn't look like the kind of dude that was going to let you go sling it or let that offense open up. But it seems like that's just who he is.
Youngstown guy, blue-collar guy, tough as nails. If it wasn't for him, who knows where I would have been. He literally changed my life because he put the football in my hand and looked me in my eyes and said, it is yours now. And also, it is yours to mess up. So if it doesn't work out, you know what I mean? It's on you. We went from 3 yards in a cloud of dust to specifically throwing the ball all first quarter. If you don't stop it, we'll throw it all second quarter. He gave me the keys to the ship, and he trusted me. I think it really worked, one, because of Joe Daniels, who was my quarterback coach back then. And as soon as he told me he coached Dan Marino at the University of Pittsburgh, I was sold. You know what I mean? So if it wasn't for him, if it wasn't for Jim Tressel, and also my dad, Ted Ginn Sr., who knows where I would have been. So it was seriously a village that helped raise me. And to be and to play quarterback at Ohio State, it is definitely life-changing. You forever are synonymous with the university, whether you've done good or bad, because we know some names that are decent and we know some names that aren't as good, and we still love them all the same. So it's unique. It's a unique class of guys that come from Ohio State, and I am just privileged to be a part.
So one of my favorite photos around the Heisman Trophy is you got your two hands on the stiff arm man, but also you got a lined up fade. I can see the waves. You got the chin strap. Yeah. I started rocking it based on that picture.
The 50 cent chin strap. The 50 cent chin strap. Yeah.
I'm saying, like, but it was something I could pull off. Like you see with the beard and whatnot, I was like, let me get like Troy.
The beard
But
looks good too, man.
Look, see, I'm 5'5", so I got to get it where I can get it. I got to get my grown man where I can get my grown man. But I wanted to ask it in this way, because it feels like if CJ Stroud has a tremendous game, he's going to be the front runner for the Heisman Trophy, win the Big Ten championship. That's a wrap for it, or so it seems. If he were to win it, what would you think his life would look like afterward?
Oh my God, come on, it's 2022. You know, I got a chance to do something that was a soft decade ago, you know, and life has been grand for me ever since. For him in this day and age with the NIL and specifically with the powers of college football being given back to the people who deserve it. The actual players on the field deserve it. You know, they are the ones scoring touchdowns. I promise you, I've never seen a coach kick a field goal, score a touchdown, run a punt. I've never seen it. You know what I mean? The players deserve what they deserve. And he's a special kid. I said it before. To me, he throws the prettiest football in college football. Also, timed up and multiplied by this new day and age of understanding and knowing who you are. It's a dangerous combination. And then also, too, when you got guys like myself who want to do nothing but help and give back to the university in the proper ways, we're going to be able to develop some fiduciary relationships and help these kids in the long run to seriously understand their power. You know, that shift is here and it's now. I'm glad it's happening to CJ, because he looks good doing it. And I'm a fan from afar. I want him to be the 8th one. We're going to bring home another Heisman Trophy, hopefully, and we'll be slapping fives with him on the stage, you know what I mean, in New York.
Nah, that's what's up. And I think that is an absolutely outstanding place to end it. Ohio State quarterback, Heisman Trophy winner, Troy Smith. Sir, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here on the #1 college football show.
RJ, man, anytime, bro. I appreciate you, man. Go Bucks always. We're going to rock it, baby.